Overnight, that lightning show illuminating the California coast as threatening rain and deafening thunderstorms roll in. Nearly 1,500 pulses of lightning recorded off the Santa Barbara coast in just 5 minutes. Those massive branches of lightning splitting the sky above Santa Barbara, shocking the darkness with blue light. Those powerful bolts striking a Delta flight headed to Seattle, forcing it to return to the Los Angeles airport, which was also struck, briefly losing power. Nearly a quarter of an inch of rain swamping roads, flooding parts of Highway 1 near Guadalupe, California. 3,000 residents in Santa Barbara County ordered to evacuate ahead of the downpour, preparing for those potential catastrophic mudslides near those fire-seared mountains.
Parts of East Tennessee felt the earth move this afternoon. The U.S. Geological Survey says a 3.4 magnitude earthquake shook parts of our area. The epicenter was recorded almost 10 miles below the surface, just northeast of Maynardville. We did speak to employees at Oakey's Pharmacy in Maynardville. They described the moment the quake rumbled through that area. We thought a car hit our building here at Channel 10. People reported feeling that quake as far north as Kentucky and east as Nashville, Asheville, North Carolina. More than 1,600 people reported feeling it to the USGS. Several people took to social media to talk about the shakeup.
Don't make you feel good because, you know, it's awful close.
While silent through the night.
No, we didn't hear anything. I didn't know anything till watching the news.
The impact this massive sinkhole left
It's a pretty big hole.
is bringing concerns for people living just feet away.
And I'm thinking, oh my God.
With their homes built above underground caves.
Right away I thought, oh my God, is this an indication of the house is going to fall in?
We're told Louisville zoo workers came across the sinkhole Wednesday morning in an undeveloped section of the property.
Your zoo is staffed 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We're always monitoring every aspect of it.
The zoo promptly closing its doors after discovering the sinkhole, the mega cavern closing its doors earlier in the day, a precaution due to a 3.4 magnitude earthquake out of Tennessee. Early estimates show the hole is around 50 yards wide, 85 yards long, and believed to be more than 50 feet deep in some parts. While ruling out the quake as a cause,
because of the timing.
Engineers now assessing the damage to figure out what brought on this football field-sized crater.
Venezuela overcome by darkness. It's not just nightfall, but one of the country's worst power blackouts in recent history. The power cut reportedly affected at least 18 of the country's 23 states. Officials urge citizens to be patient. Advice many of those affected implied is much easier suggested than done.
It was massive, engulfing Highway 91 in Colorado yesterday. Trees snapped like toothpicks. At least 4 drivers were in their vehicles as the avalanche buried their cars in snow. No one was hurt. Colorado's Department of Transportation says the avalanche was 100 yards wide and up to 15 feet deep. Earlier in the day, there were at least 6 other avalanches in Colorado, including one that ruptured a gas line.
It ain't gonna come this way, is it?
These avalanches come just days after this monster snowslide on Sunday that happened not far from here. It swept vehicles off the road. There were no injuries then either. But one avalanche last weekend was deadly. A skier was buried in 3 feet of snow. Officials want to prevent more tragedy by triggering controlled avalanches just like this one that happened on Tuesday. Right now, there are 4 areas in Colorado's Central Mountains that are under the highest danger rating for avalanches. This is the first time that's happened since forecasts began back in 1973.
To actually be around in avalanches and stuff like that, I mean, I have never seen something like this ever.
In Colorado, officials have recorded more than 2,000 avalanches, making this the worst season in 50 years.
These slide paths don't have a history of hitting the highway.
Avalanches have killed 19 people this winter, so officials are warning skiers, snowmobilers, and now drivers to avoid avalanche territory until the snowpack can settle and become more stable.
This is supposed to be a creek, but quickly it turned into a river running through the middle of downtown Sonora. This storm caused serious flash flooding. We're talking hail, water everywhere, cars stuck. This mess happened in a moment's notice.
It was a great deal all at once, and our environment just couldn't handle it.
The police station started getting a ton of 911 calls.
Just couldn't handle it. Water was in the streets, flowing down the roadways, into people's houses, into the businesses.
This Save Mart closed its doors because of flooding. This is what it looked like at the fairgrounds. People setting up for the Celtic Fair rushed to get out.
I'm standing knee deep in the water. The tent is a total loss.
Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God.
When Joe Marshall opened the door to his basement for the first time since the storms, he never expected this.
Oh my God.
Flood water pushed hail into the basement, trapping about 4 feet of it inside.
Oh, it moved my washer and dryers too. It moved them. So it was floating down here, even over there. Oh my gosh, there's probably 3 feet solid over there.
Flood water pushed hail into the basement, trapping about 4 feet of it inside. This was the view from his front porch. The stairs to his backyard looked like a waterfall.
I come out and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. My steps down to my basement, it was like a river. It was just flowing down through there. The streets were covered in water.
Floodwaters carried away cars in the resort town of Guerneville, north of San Francisco. Hundreds of people remain trapped while National Guard trucks are taking others to safety. Our Meg Oliver's in Forestville, California, in an area cut off by the flooding.
The only way in and out of Guerneville is by kayak or canoe. The small town was inundated after the Russian River overflowed its banks. Floodwaters surrounded homes, submerged cars, and trapped anyone who didn't leave.
Normally we park right here.
This is where you park?
Yeah, it's a road.
Laura Duplessis' house is raised, but her basement and yard are completely underwater.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No. Oh, there he is. Oh my goodness, there he is.
Overnight, severe weather pounding parts of the South. One possible tornado turning deadly in Mississippi. A driver capturing this funnel cloud forming and spinning near Columbus, where that suspected tornado touched down.
All units take cover. All units take cover. Have a tornado funnel reported.
Residents running into this store where they watched the strong winds and heavy rain pour down as the storm hit. The lights suddenly going dark.
So we were just crouching down and just praying.
ABC News confirming this morning at least one person was killed here. The damage devastating. Homes and businesses crumbled, debris everywhere. Trees and power lines knocked over, more than 4,000 now without power. A massive tree falling right onto this vehicle.
Hey, God is good. I'm glad to be alive.
And over 100 miles away, another possible twister spotted bringing a lightning show with it. In Tennessee, neighborhoods underwater. A month's worth of rain in just one day in Knoxville. The torrential downpours prompting dozens of rescues. And in the Midwest, the storm bringing blizzard conditions, creating dangerous roadways. Highways paralyzed, drivers stranded in Nebraska. The roadway turning into a crash course with several cars piling up.
The tremor struck the southeastern province of Morona, Santiago, near the border with Peru. The epicenter was in a sparsely populated area, and there are no immediate reports of casualties or major damage. It was followed by a second magnitude 5.5 earthquake in western Ecuador less than half an hour later. Shaking was felt throughout the country and in northern Peru. The possibility of a tsunami has been ruled out.
The all-time daily record in Flagstaff, Arizona fell as the storm dumped nearly 36 inches of snow. That beat the previous record of 31 inches set in 1915.
People across Flagstaff shoveled furiously to try and keep up with the storm, but with the snow falling at up to 2 inches an hour, that was no easy task. There was so much snow, we saw some people skiing down the middle of the street. But it's not all fun and games. Even with 35 plows and help from the Arizona Department of Transportation, Coconino County had trouble clearing its 750 miles of roadway. Across Arizona, roads and parts of major interstates were forced to shut down. Some drivers got stuck, including Matthew Reynolds.
At 100 feet in is when I knew there was problems. Cars lined up. We were stuck there for 4.5 hours.
In Payson, the biggest snowstorm in 2 decades dumped at least 17 inches. That town usually gets just under 2 feet for the entire winter season.
My first.
Your first. What do you
This
think about
severe. This is bad.
The storm also hit other areas that aren't so used to snow. This is drone video just outside Las Vegas at Red Rock Canyon. School kids in Pasadena, California went crazy over the falling snow.
Oh my God, it's snowing!
It snowed in Los Angeles, and the hills above Malibu, and even where Chris Harrison lives. The rare snow blanketing Southern California, Nevada, and Arizona. It was plowable snow near Lake Elsinore, California. And in Hollywood, just days before the Oscars, snow covering Sunset Boulevard. In Las Vegas, the most snow Sin City has seen in more than a decade.
Take a look at this, a snowman in front of the iconic Las Vegas sign, and that is a rare sight.
Tennessee caused a series of mudslides here today. They happened in Hawkins, Blount, as well as Greene counties. And 10 News anchor Beth Haynes joins us with more on how those dangers have really become real.
Yeah, John, the landslide on Highway 70 in Hawkins County killed a Jonesboro man. That slide swept his car 200 feet down an embankment. THP says 62-year-old Stephen Lawson was driving his pickup truck when heavy rain washed the road away. TDOT says a portion of the road as well as surrounding roads will be closed long-term. Crews will be working in the area through the weekend. Now, a section of 321 in Blount County is down to 1 lane due to continued slides. TDOT says it's closing a lane between Walland and Townsend. TDOT says crews set up a traffic signal there this afternoon. They plan to install a barrier rail tomorrow. The Blount County Sheriff's Office says drivers can take Old Walland Highway to get to Townsend. Now, a slide on State Route 66